So, hey, we're back again. Super excited to have Gabrielle Tate on with us again. Say, hey.
Hey.
Oh my gosh. Tonight, we're going to talk about Monday night. If you missed it, hey, look, go back and check it out. We talked about eliminating the stigma surrounding mental wellness, mental health. And there's a lot of good things that are in there. Hey, if you're suffering or you know somebody that may be suffering with some mental health issues or maybe suffering with sadness or depression, there's some information in the comment section that we provided, phone numbers, websites, things of that nature, anything that you need that's there, you can go on and do that anonymously. Hey, we're here to help you. So we're super excited about that one. It was a great conversation. I didn't want it to end, right?
Right.
I was so sad. I had so many more questions to ask, but we're definitely going to have Gabrielle on again. So I've already told her this before, so we'll kind of sprinkle her out throughout the rest of this year. So look to see her on here for more conversations. And I'm going to give her a minute to introduce herself, but I want to talk about tonight's topic. Tonight, we're going to talk about identifying toxic relationships and why that's important. You know, on probably several weeks ago, I put something out there in our Relationships Matter 2020 group. And I said, hey, what are some ideas of conversations that you'd like to have? And a lot of people talked about toxic relationships and how they had either been toxic or they had been around toxic people. Hey, I myself have been in toxic relationships. And cycles and how to break the cycles and things of that nature. So Gabrielle's going to kind of help us to understand what it means to be toxic. Then we're going to talk about what a toxic relation looks like, how we can identify it. And then we're going to go through and talk about how to get out and ways to get out and what we can do to help ourselves and to avoid those relationships in the future. So, hey, we're super excited about tonight. I know there are some of you that already know who Gabrielle is, but for those that didn't get the introduction on Monday, Gabrielle, tell us a little bit about you tonight.
I am originally from North Carolina, and I love to always say that because I am not from Oklahoma.
Yes.
And
neither am I.
No. We moved, my husband and I moved here in 2017. And I am currently a medical social worker. I have practiced in a psychiatric hospital. I have practiced as a school social worker. I've practiced as a child protective service social worker. So I've been in the social work field just a few years, 2014, I believe. So 6 years or so. And I love people. I love mental health. I love, just empowering and encouraging however I can.
Yeah.
I love it.
You can tell it. I mean, on our conversation the other day, I mean, you could really, just your love for people, I mean, was shining through. So like I said, I totally enjoyed having that conversation with you, and I'm super excited about having this one tonight. So let's jump right in. So tell me, what does it mean to have a toxic relationship, or what does toxic even mean in relationships?
So just generally, like when we look at or think about the word toxic, right? You can Google it right now and just see the definition of it. Literally means poisonous.
Wow.
Like literally means poisonous. So it is meant to do harm. It's meant to debilitate, meaning to just to lower your function in life, whether it's physically, mentally, socially, financially. It is meant to cause harm, and even some for death. If you just kind of look at it from a physical standpoint, I love giving like physical examples as opposed to mental health for social, emotional examples, because we can understand it better from the physical standpoint, where you go into the doctor and you've had this infection, and infection is caused by toxins, which is these things that are just geared your body for poisonous things. You know, it is there to break down whatever organ system it's on or in, to hinder your bloodstream, to make rashes and cause all of these things, these bodily harms to you, you know. And so, you know, you get prescribed whatever antibiotic or whatever treatment plan your doctor says is good for that particular toxin or infection. So it requires, once we find out what this toxin is, you know, and what the purpose of it is, like, or what it's doing, we realize that, you know, well, shoot, I have to do something about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want it to go to the point where it may cause a limb to be lost, or it may cause, you know, further organ damage, or, you know, having to be on, you know, additional support for breathing. Like, we don't know what these toxins can particularly do, you know, in your body. And so when we go to the doctor, we get that treatment plan, whether it's medication or lifestyle change, right? You know, that's our way of getting out the toxins, or becoming more healthier and whole. So just looking at it from the physical standpoint, you kind of got to think, for socially and emotionally or mentally, you know, being in a toxic relationship. So a relationship with an individual, it could be, you know, a parent to child relationship. It could be an intimate partner relationship. It could be your business partner, your coworker, whatever type of relationship, meaning there's two or more individuals that have chosen to, you know, communicate together, or to, you know, collide ideas. We've chosen as individuals to partner, you know what I'm saying? And so we realize that this relationship is causing more harm than good. I think is a good point in identifying, am I in a toxic relationship? You know, the first thing I would think to consider is, you know, is this relationship, am I gaining anything from this relationship? Is it more gain, or is it more of the losing or taking side? You know, that's very important to kind of identify, you know, after having conversations with this individual, whatever, if this is an intimate partner, or if this is, you know, my parent or parent to child, whatever relationship it is, at the end of a conversation, am I feeling bad about myself? You know, am I feeling guilty? What are my thoughts and my feelings in regards to after communicating with this individual?
You know what I love about what you're saying in this context? So most people I found have really limited, you know, what a toxic relationship is. And sometimes it's, you know, they limit it to, well, you know, I may have an unhealthy relationship with a parent, or I may have an unhealthy relationship with, you know, a spouse, or an intimate partner. But you're saying that there's a broad range of relationships that can really be affected with toxicity. And I mean, I never really even thought about it. You know, you said business partnership, you know, employee-employer relationship, a toxic relationship. Yeah. And you're saying that if we are feeling worse after, I mean, it's just that simple. If we're feeling worse after we encounter this person, it could be classified as a toxic relationship.
I think over time. So of course we wouldn't count that as, like, you know, one incident type thing, right? Yeah. You know, like, oh, well, we had an argument, or, oh, we had a disagreement at work, and maybe we fussed and yelled or whatever. I mean, that's natural, right?
Yeah.
You just don't have the best and roses of days all of the time, right? But when we have seen it over time, and, you know, time and time again, we might have tried to resolve the issue, or come together and pick up a plan, you know, with how we can move forward, and then a situation comes again, and now we're back to where we're back to, you know. So I think over time, once we have seen that either this individual or partner or whomever I have not received what I believe is necessary for me to progress, or to move forward. I have not received what I needed, you know, or it's more of a taking, you know, from me. It's taking my joy, it's taking my peace, it's taking my money, it's taking my time, it's taking, you know, I mean, you gotta evaluate those things, you know what I'm saying? Like, and realize, like, And the question is still stands, is this more of a gaining relation? Am I gaining what I need? You know, or is this more of a taking? We do understand that in a relationship, whatever kind, it's a give and take, right? It's always a give and take. You
Yeah.
know, sacrifice, or I'm gonna be able to be supportive, that type of thing. But it requires us to evaluate which one is more. Am I gaining more in this relationship, or am I being taken advantage of more in this relationship? And I think that's like one of the first steps to kind of identify if you're in a toxic relationship. Are you in a relationship that is poisonous to your well-being, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's physically, emotionally, mentally, you know, financially, is it poisonous to my well-being?
So how do you end up? I mean, how does a person just end up in a toxic relationship? Like, what happens?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons, right? I mean, we can go on the route of thinking, you know, what I found, I would say in my experience, what I found is when I don't feel the best on the inside, meaning my emotional state, I am not feeling worthy enough for someone to care for me, or I don't
Wow.
feel that I'm as smart as the next individual, or I don't feel, or I don't believe, not necessarily feel, I don't believe that I can measure up to whatever standard. You know what I'm saying? When I don't believe those things in myself, it's almost as if I open the door to receive just that. You know what I'm saying? Because I already believe that in myself. I already believe that I'm not this or I'm not that, or I can't amount to whatever. Well, I open myself up to relationships that bring the bare minimum.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? If I believe the bare minimum, it brings the bare minimum. You know, it's almost like seed time and harvest. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
or just being it, or sowing seeds, or maybe seeds have already been sown, meaning like a child who may have experienced trauma, and you know, the seeds of low self-esteem, maybe they were called stupid and dumb, and you know, all of their life, and so they begin to believe this. And so you get into a relationship, whether it's an intimate relationship, or you can just count the parent to child relationship, where that child has been hearing all of these things from their parent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's toxic, because it isn't bringing life to this individual, right? It isn't pouring joy or peace into this relationship. Is providing poison. You know what I'm saying? It's
Wow.
providing doubt and all of this and that. So I feel like a lot of stuff, a lot of things. I'll put it like this: in a relationship, we individually bring our own pain, our
Yeah.
own hurts. We bring our own thoughts, our own belief systems. We bring our own characteristics. We bring all of these things into a partnership. So if I'm bringing all of this other individual is bringing theirs as
Okay.
well. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so sometimes they either match or they collide, right? You know, or sometimes they're so enmeshed in together that it becomes difficult to break apart,
Yeah.
because it looks the same. Oh well, he has low self-esteem just like I do. Well, you know, putting that together, would that bring forth the result that you want? Is that pushing you towards believing in yourself, or is it keeping you in, you know, the state of the unknown? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, how another way I
You
think.
know, I like the example that you shared last night when we were talking about this a little bit with the food example. You had shared a little bit about the steak. Oh yeah. Could you
Oh,
share that a little bit? Yeah.
okay.
Here.
So I think we were talking about like how do we choose toxic relationships, where like if I was raised or I was given the opportunity for food, I'm hungry and I have a filet mignon, someone has given me this beautiful steak. Someone has also provided a McDonald's double cheeseburger, and then, you know, I think it was a KFC dinner or something. And so if on the inside I feel like the filet mignon is just way too much, like, well, why would you give me that? You know what I'm saying? Why would you spend that much money on that little steak? Why would you, I'm questioning the value of this filet mignon, knowing that it is, because in my head or in my heart, I believe it's here. You know what I'm saying? It's up here. It is the greatest value. It's the best steak, right? And I'm questioning why would this individual, you said you was going to buy me dinner, why would you buy me this? So I'm automatically disregarding that because on the inside, I don't feel worthy enough to be able to accept that, right? And then we have the double cheeseburger where I'm used to. It's easy, it's accessible, it's cheaper, it's, it's convenient, it's on my level, it's what I believe that I deserve. Now, I'm not saying that McDonald's is better than a filet mignon, but it's just the value of it, is a little different. And so individuals choose what they believe on the inside, whether you notice it or not, whether it's conscious or not, a conscious decision or not. Because a lot of people think, well, I didn't choose this abusive relationship, or I didn't choose, to be in this stagnant business partnership. I didn't choose this parent or whatever. And yes, it is true. I don't think anyone wakes up and say, I want to be in a toxic relationship.
Right.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so, right? So it almost as if, our experiences shape that. Our choices, of course. Our experiences shape our choices. Our thought patterns shape our choices. What we have experienced as, either a child or an adult, whether it's assault or, low self-esteem. What we've experienced kind of helps I wouldn't say hinder, but it helps navigate our heart and what we choose. And it helps navigate on whether or not we stay, because if I already don't feel worthy enough, if I already am a little questioning my ability to do the job, then I'm going to take the lowest position. I'm not going to go for the promotion. I'm not going to pursue, further education. I'm not going to do that because I don't feel like I can actually do that,
Wow.
Yeah. It's just interesting. And I say this to being in a toxic relationship, sometimes you aren't aware of it at that time. Right?
Yeah, right.
This friend, they call me all the time. We go out all the time. We're talking. I feel comfortable the first couple months, or an intimate relationship. He or she is giving me the attention that I need. I'm, they're responsive. They encourage me, and then life happens because life happens, right?
Yeah.
And experiences become, what we do, and then personality traits change, and you are given the opportunity to either say, no, I don't really like what this is transitioning into, or some individuals see the change. It's like, oh, well, I mean, he or she had a bad relationship with his mom. So, I understand why he gets so upset and is always yelling at me or always this and that. Oh, well, I understand because his last business partner took all of his money. He just is very scary. He just is, want to be sure with this next business plan, Or we can, which is one of the things that I think would help getting out of a relationship, would be constantly taking a step back,
Hold on, wait. Let's not go there. Right. We gotta hold it to the end. You said that one way to identify it is to realize that, over time, you're not necessarily receiving what you need in the relationship. Mm-hmm. And then the gains. And what are some other ways?
Of identifying, I think another big one is having an honest conversation with yourself.
Oh.
after we've identified, like questioning, is this gaining, if am I gaining anything, or is this more taking away, and then after we've done that, I think we have to have a conversation with ourselves in regards to what is it that we want? What are our expectations of this relationship?
Mm-hmm.
And what are we wanting? What are we desiring? What are we needing? That self-reflection. And also too, what am I bringing to the table that can be hindering this relationship or making it even more toxic?
Yeah.
It goes with that valuing myself. Well, if I don't know that I'm devaluing myself because I'm not having that conversation with myself, I'm not having that come to Jesus moment, or that moment where I'm like, what is going on? I realized that my relationship with my parents is this way. My relationship with my boyfriend or girlfriend is this way. I realized that the relationship at work is this way. Everywhere I go, I'm yelling, fussing, screaming. Everywhere I go, when I'm in contact with others, I'm enraged, or I feel so low. I'm feeling all of these things in every area of my life. Well, I have to realize every area of your life, the common denominator is yourself. Not that it's your fault, but that I've seen it this way, that way, this way. I can't change that around me, but I can change or identify or see what's going on with me.
Yeah.
Why do I make these choices?
Yeah.
Why do I stay? What is it that I am longing for that I feel I did not ever receive, yet I am looking for it in this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that to me is the longest process. That is
I,
the
I agree, because I personally, just me personally, just I've had to do some soul searching myself, after a toxic relationship, and it is a long process, and it has taken sometimes like months for me to uncover certain things about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Sometimes it can take years. For what, honestly, I mean, if we just talk briefly about like domestic violence, and we have a woman or male who's in an abusive relationship, statistics say that it takes 8 to 12 times for this individual to leave and to stay away. That has to
8
tell you
to
something. 8 to
12.
12 times. Meaning they have attempted to leave the toxic relationship physically, like to leave the relationship or end it in some form or fashion, but have found themselves to come back. You know what I'm
8
saying?
times?
8 to 12 times, depending on kind of where you look at. I was looking at the National Domestic Violence Line, but
Wow.
yes, I mean, so we got, and I know some individuals sometimes don't understand, and that is a whole another lesson, but
You're
as to
coming back, so yeah, we're good.
whatever. But you kind of got to wonder, okay, well, I'm in this, if maybe it's not abusive, but I'm in this relationship, and he says I'm sorry every 5 minutes, you know what I'm saying, or every week, or once a month, like over the same thing. How many times are we going to go around the merry-go-bush? Which requires us to have that conversation with ourselves, and to be honest. If you can't expect someone to be honest and truthful to you if you are unable to be honest and truthful to yourself. Meaning, what are the reasons why I am in this cycle, this trap, why am I in it? Why do I keep doing it?
Yeah.
And be honest about it. And
Yeah.
sometimes some people say, I've had the question, well, is this something that I just do on my own, or is it something that, I can talk with someone else about? Absolutely. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
good to be able to process with another individual, especially a trusted or entrusted person, because they're going to give you the truth.
Yeah.
And your best interest is theirs. You know what I'm saying? They want the best for you. And so sometimes processing it with yourself is amazing, because you're getting the true. You can be happy, ugly, nasty, all, you know what I'm saying? You can be just as raw as necessary, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just you,
Yeah.
right? And then, you can be that with that entrusted person too.
Yeah.
I think some individuals, for me, mine was God.
Yeah.
Mine was to, I'm a worshiper. I love to pour out what's on the inside, what I've harbored, whatever, hurts or pain that I may have inflicted, to just cast it upon him and throw it at his feet. And I'm able to leave it there.
Yeah.
So, and that's still a self-reflection,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think that is very important for us to be able to have a real life conversation with ourselves and be honest as to why.
Yeah.
What's going on? What has happened that I am finding myself? And if we find that it was maybe trauma, or maybe it was stuff that was from years ago that I just never processed, or it was, something today, just whatever. If we find that it's something that is so heavy that we are unable to bear on our own, then that is when we seek help. We seek, whether it's that entrusted friend or even a counselor, a therapist, or whomever, to kind of fight with you, but also give you that support.
I do have a question for you. We've used it a lot, and I know what it means, and in context, because I've done it myself. Why is it so necessary for us to process through emotions and process through feelings to come out on the other side? Why is that? Because people say it all the time. I know it's beneficial for me, but I know you understand what that means in technical terms.
So, okay, like processing through, how can I explain this? I can explain it the other way, meaning compressing things, it leaves one result, is gonna burst.
Oh.
Like it. I use this example just as when I was a school-based therapist with the kiddos, that like a cup. So think about a cup under a running faucet.
Yeah.
Right? The cup is you. The running faucet, meaning the water is running into the cup, is life. Yeah. It is going to continue to run in your cup, right?
Yeah.
Some cups are huge, right? And so they can hold a lot. Some cups are tiny, little shot cups, where a drip of water, we're overflowing, right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Meaning I get overwhelmed fairly quick. I am able, I'm just flying off the radar, right? Because I have a smaller cup, okay? But regardless of the size of cup, the practice is to pour out.
Wow.
Right? So if we have a cup running underwater and we can pour out, that means because the water's still running, if I can pour out a little bit, it's never going to get too full and it's not going to overflow. Meaning, if and give you the example too with the same example, if I have a cup, it's under running water and it's in a sink or whatever, I let it just go and go and go, go and go. The cup fills up, starts spilling out over the sink, starts spilling out over the counter. Eventually, over time, years go by, nobody's changed that faucet or anything. It can flood just by this little cup not tilting over when it was necessary to pour out. You know what I'm saying? And so with that, when I say running over, and now, because life is not going to stop unless you die, right? Life is going to continue. Life is going to happen, right? So it's our responsibility to learn our balance.
Yeah.
How much can I take? How much is what I'm able to bear? And when is it time to pour out? When is it time to process? When is it time to release? Because I don't want my cup to get so full that it starts spilling over into my marriage, and it starts spilling over into my relationship with my kids, and it starts spilling over into my partnerships and my spirituality. It starts spilling over everywhere, and now it's a mess. It's getting we can color this example, right? And it starts getting more, and now the countertops are all messed up because the water is still running and it's still going, because we can't cut it off, right?
Yeah.
And so it keeps going, just keeps going, and now time and time ago we got mold, and now this is, in respect to that, is more so now it has spilled over to my marriage. It's spilled over to my kids, and now I'm seeing the effects, the mold or the buildup, just because I did not want to pour out while it was, in the beginning. I could
Wow.
just tip my cup over a little bit, get a little bit more, tip my cup over a little bit. So I feel like processing is that pouring out.
That's good.
Because I'm gonna get angry, I'm gonna get
Yeah.
sad, I'm gonna be hurt, I'm gonna feel all of these things, meaning does the life, the pouring, the water, the faucet, that's gonna come. But it's just about me, how I'm gonna process that. Meaning, am I gonna compartmentalize and put it in a little file cabinet? And then I realize that I got billions of file cabinets in my head, and now it's just too much.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and we think we can hold it. And some cups, I was talking to a friend the other week, and I'm like, I know I have a very large cup. I do. I have a
Mm-hmm.
very large cup. So sometimes, just out of practice, which I'm trying to learn how to pour out, because it is a great practice. But I will go to a point where, because my cup is so huge, I can take your problem, it might be my profession, but it's just like I have the ability to take it, or so I think I have the ability to take it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I just let the cup feel, and feel. And I know eventually it's gonna run over.
Yeah.
But it's only when it runs over in the sink and I'm like, ooh, I need to tip a little bit. I need to
Yeah.
pour out a little bit. So
Yeah.
I that would be my best way to explain what the importance is to pour out,
Yeah.
or to process, your feelings, and process what's going on, what you've experienced. Because you're, again, like on Monday, we talked about, you will respond to it.
Yes.
You're going to respond to the trauma. You're going to respond to the event or the toxic relationship in some way, form, or fashion, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally. You will respond to it. It's so,
Yeah.
how are we going to respond to it? How long are we going to respond to it?
Wow.
You know?
That's really good. I really, wow. I haven't really seen it quite in that light, right? What'd you say?
That wasn't on our list of topics.
I know,
Yeah,
but
that's good though. That was amazing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, sometimes people, and I mean, I think it's another stigma, and that's, people are, oh, yeah, you're talking about processing, but I mean, to break it down in that context, I mean, it's very, that's a very tangible thing. I mean, nobody wants mold. Nobody wants water damage, because it destroys absolutely everything. It destroys the furniture, it destroys
Exactly.
everything. You get displaced from your house. I mean, like,
You can take the story and just go, right?
yeah, it's tons of things that happen. So, I really appreciate you sharing that part, kind of going off of our conversation, not script, because we don't have a script, but kind of going off, kind of down a rabbit trail, because I think it's necessary for people to understand. I think sometimes, it seems like toxicity can be born in not processing.
Yeah, yeah. To me, it could be a result of not processing. Right?
Right.
So I have not processed all of these feelings, or these past traumas, or these past experiences, or present things, right? Things that I'm going through right now. I haven't processed this, and so I jump into a relationship, or the first person that shows me what I think that I am not, I'm dead in, and I'm stuck, and I'm there. I'm present. But it's gonna come up, because my cup is gonna continue to get full, right?
Yeah.
Again, it's gonna continue to get full, and because I don't have room, I don't have healthy room, you know, then it's gonna spill over, and it's gonna get on our carpet and do all these things, meaning it's gonna show up in the man or woman, or it's gonna show up in the business plan, or show up in my lack of work ethic, or it's gonna show up in how I support others, and their perception of me now in that relationship. You're never there for me, and that causes toxicity, right?
That's really good. I mean,
Just think about it. Unresolved issues, unresolved things. It lingers, and it has a smell, and it follows. It's poisonous.
yeah.
It can cause harm.
Yeah.
It can debilitate us, or make us not be able to function the way that we were called to function.
That's so good. Because I mean, like, we're not looking at it, we're looking at it both sides, looking at it from both sides,
Yeah.
the victim and
Mhm.
the person that could be toxic.
Yeah, because
So,
I mean, the person that is toxic, or I would say that brings the negative energy, or brings the manipulation, or whatever it is. Well, it's a learned, that could be a learned behavior. Where did that come from? You know what I'm saying? Where did you learn that from? You know,
right.
how did you learn to be um, so headstrong and narcissistic? How did you learn to be, the center of attention, and it only matters about you? And so now your partner feels as if they are unworthy and can't speak up, and they can't do. Where did this come from? Where did the control to be, and um, to to say, where did that come from? Was it a lack of control that you've experienced before, and so you promised yourself that you would never be in that situation again? And so
Yeah.
now you're into relationships with the control, like, oh no, that's not gonna happen to me again.
Wow.
But if I would have processed that and learned how to deal, or learned to let go, or learn to forgive, or whatever that may look like,
Yeah.
then I would have been able to identify this individual when they came and stepped to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh no,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is not it for me. You know what I'm saying? And I will be confident enough, and I'll be well enough to be able to back away, or to move forward. Or sometimes it is relationships where they may have started out toxic, and if you have two willing partners to work on that, whether that is business partner or parent-child relationship, then by all means work through it. It doesn't mean that if it was at once toxic that it can't ever be healed and whole, right?
Yeah.
It's a matter of the two parties being willing to do that. But if we got one that is willing, and then the other that isn't, it becomes difficult. Now the person that is willing have a decision.
Yeah.
What do I want to do?
That's really good.
And that goes with having that conversation with yourself, goes with talking with that entrusted person and that support system, about the truth about the relationship,
Yeah.
because it's one thing what we present in a relationship to others. It's the truth about what is actually going inside the relationship, what's really behind the door in the
Yeah. That's good.
relationship, you
That's
know?
good. You had mentioned something about conversation, um, that being a way to identify whether the relationship is toxic or not. Like if a person is not understanding you or dismissing you.
Yeah, so just I kind of had something from the National Domestic Violence Line. Is really good because it gave you like what a healthy relationship looks like, what unhealthy relationship looks like, which we would kind of consider what we're saying toxic, and then like an abuse type relationship. And so having that conversation, where communicating how you talk as a partnership,
Yeah.
or talk as the intimate relationship, the boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage, parent, child, whatever you want to say, how we communicate it. So a healthy relationship, it looked like you talk openly about problems and listen to one another. You respect each other's opinions. So it means that I can now converse with you, and although we disagree, we can agree to disagree and move forward.
Yeah.
We can respect, which is one of the correspondence too, is to be respectful. Do I value what the other individual is saying or doing or desire, or am I not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do I feel about how the conversation goes? Meaning, while I'm in the conversation, do I feel like he or she is listening? Do I feel like he or she is respecting what I'm saying? While I'm in the conversation, because we're not even talking about how I feel afterwards, but while in the conversation, are they listening? Are they attentive? Are they willing to try, or even responding? Because there's been, there's unhealthiness, with meaning when an unhealthy relationship and you're communicating or attempting to communicate, a lot of individuals would just walk out, right? So there's a lack of communication.
Mm-hmm.
There's a dismissive tone or dismissive behavior,
Yeah.
right? Um, they talked about trusting and not trusting. So one partner believes what the other partner says, right? And then of course the unhealthy part would be one partner doesn't believe what the other says, or feels entitled to invade their privacy. I like that part because not I like it, but it was
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
No, I don't like that part. But what I've seen just being a school social worker for young adults, like I was a school social worker at a high school. They ranged from 16 years old to 21, 22 years old. It's like their last chance of getting their diploma, right?
Yeah.
And what I found was girls and guys, they were okay with, their significant other taking their phone and reading their text messages and looking at their phone calls, and you, you don't pay that bill, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or the invader privacy where, like, I don't like you wearing those clothes. I don't want you wearing this, or I don't like your hair like that. You know, toxic. You don't get to tell me that. You know,
Exactly.
you don't get to tell me that. I'm an individual person first. And
Yeah.
that goes with respecting me as an individual, right? So that was interesting to me about an unhealthy relationship. They feel entitled to invade your privacy. I'm your boyfriend, I'm your girlfriend, or I'm your best friend, or I'm whoever. I can do that. But can you? You know what I'm saying? Can you do that though? No, but I thought it was interesting. And then we talked about the dishonest or the honest part. Enjoying personal time. So I've seen friends too where you have a relationship is just, a home girl, a home guy, or whatever, your boy, or whoever you call your friend, and you're so wrapped up in that relationship that when they have new friends, there's an issue. Well, it's healthy to have varied friends, right? From all different
Yes.
backgrounds or from different cultures or whatever. It's healthy to do that, you know. And you don't have to have, you're not my friend. You're not just my friend, So being able to enjoy personal time, meaning I have a life outside of this particular relationship, mom to child relationship. Mom, I'm 20. I can have friends. It is unhealthy for you to want me to be at the house under you all of the time, and that's a little toxic.
Yeah, that's toxic.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's debilitating. It hinders my function, my
Yeah.
daily function to provide to have social skills. It hinders that.
Yeah.
I mean, um, another they were talking about unhealthy and healthy was pressured by others to have sexual activity. You
Hmm.
know, so that's when that went into like the abuse part too, where some individuals use that as form of control, and that's real life. That is real. You know, um, ignoring partners' boundaries, unhealthy.
Yeah.
I say you have, and that goes with respect.
Hmm.
Don't get in my space.
Yeah.
Don't call me after 9. Like these are boundaries. You know what I'm saying? And so you see those things. Those were some of the things that I found. Just what would be the difference between a healthy and unhealthy relationship? What does that look like in the
Yeah.
most simplest form? And you can kind of see that in a lot of different relationships that you have. Just what does that look like? And it
Yeah.
gave me a better picture to see what could be or potentially toxic and what could be healthy.
So let me ask you this, because we've got about,
Oh.
girl, I'm telling you, I love these conversations. You are going to be on this again. So just get used to, the whole thing. I love it. So how would, say for instance, I'm in a relationship, and I need to get out, or I'm in a relationship and I'm the toxic one. How can I get to the point where I can overcome, being a part? I know you've mentioned a few things, but like what can I do to either help myself or help change the course of the relationship, or help just to get out?
Yeah, I think it goes with, for one, you got to identify. You got to identify, am I in one or not? What does that look like, right? Because you could be in a relationship and think it's all roses and good because of what you saw before. I've seen this type of relationship my whole life. This is what it is. I've
Yeah.
never seen anything different. So I may not know that this particular relationship is unhealthy, right? So is first being, identifying whether or not I'm in one, and that goes with help with friends and family, people around you who knows you. Maybe your personality has changed, and maybe your values have changed, maybe your character has changed, and it's not in the form of healthy. Like it's not like you're pursuing better for yourself, or it's a alteration that is well for you. So there are maybe family and friends or people that know you, your teacher or whomever, find that you as an individual is not the same since you began this business or this partnership or this relationship. Or unfortunately, sometimes when as an adult, maybe you've had the relationship with your parent has been estranged. And so you've had time you were separated from your parent, and you begin to work on yourself, and you realize that, oh, I am this person, that person, whatever. And then mom starts coming back into the picture, dad comes back into the picture, or sister comes back into the picture, and then life changes again. So I think identifying whether or not I'm in one is important. So before you can get out, you got to know that you were in, right? Two is finding that entrusted person, that you will be able to process with. Because sometimes it's good to just hear, oh my God, I just said this. I just said that this is okay for this person to do to me. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes hearing what I'm experiencing will make all the difference, and then again, having that real conversation with yourself, knowing or coming to the conclusion that I value more of myself. That's huge. I think to me, it's the core of having or staying in a toxic relationship. To me, that's core, and that's like foundational. It's what's on the inside that I may be feeling or experiencing or have experienced that I have not resolved or healed from or forgiven or whatever. How do I get out? Because once I've processed that, or once I forgave, or once I've let go of whatever, then now I'm able to see different. I'm able to want, my desires may change. And so that gives me the confidence to leave. It gives me the confidence of, I want to step out. I want more than just this relationship. And sometimes if you're in an abusive situation, sometimes it's very difficult to do that. Of course, we've talked a little bit about it, how it takes so much to do, but every single time that you do leave, you get stronger and a little bit more confident. Now I've created a plan, with my entrusted person on the best way to extract, right? And again, I'm always a person, I'm taught in my profession to always look at safety and risk. And we talked briefly last night about how does that look for a supportive person? For that, what if I'm the friend? What if I'm the entrusted person? What do I do? Well, it's safety and risk first. So if we look at a family member or a friend or whomever is in an unsafe situation, present time, in the moment, is emergent, we do what's best for that individual, safety. And then just be that supportive person and patient, knowing and trust and believe that, hey, if I stand with her or with him, encourage and pour into him and her, then they'll get it.
Yeah. So even with situations like that, it doesn't just happen overnight. And like you said, I love the fact that you're saying you got to be patient. It's not going to happen the first time that we have a conversation and say, hey, you need to get out. It may take a little while. I think for my own situation, I try to be very, very objective. And I've been in toxic relationships, and because I'm so objective, I try to see things from all sides, right? And generally that's to my detriment, because I could be being mistreated, but I don't see it as being mistreated, and I will alter my personality or alter my actions to appease the other person, because I want to be contributing to the relationship.
So, but that goes with that reflection time.
Yeah.
Because you have to identify, like, what are some things that I'm doing, or what is it, some practices that I have? Am I a people pleaser? Am I always usually a doormat? Like, you got to have those hard conversations. Like, do I really do snap and go when someone asks me, or I'm able to build boundaries, or am I good with that? How do I develop that? You really got to have that real life conversation with yourself, and ask yourself those hard questions, because without that, you're not going to know. You're going to continue to do what you've been doing, because you haven't taken the time to kind of just sit and be honest. It is going to be nasty, ugly, and it's just not going to be the best experience.
Right.
But the results of it is what you want, is what you long for.
Yeah. So you're basically telling me, toxic or not toxic person, it's a road. It's a process. It's a journey. And if we can commit to that particular journey, we can see it through,
Absolutely. I agree.
But there has to be two willing participants, right?
Mm-hmm. Or, just one. Me. I'm willing to choose myself.
Right. That's good.
This ain't it. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to choose myself. I realize I stepped back, I did some self-reflection, and I realized this is not it. And I'm okay with that. But now, how do I do it? Right?
She said, this ain't it. I love it. Oh my goodness. It's so good. There's a quote that you gave me last night that you had gotten from Michael Todd. And if you don't know who Michael Todd is the pastor of Transformation Church here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So I want you to share that, and then I want you to share your heart. Just speak to the people. I know there's more questions. I know there's, there's more steps. There's more how-tos and things of that nature. We've barely scratched the surface, and we've been on here for an hour.
I know.
But I think we can put some things in the comment section. We'll put some things in the comment section. We'll put some more of those numbers and websites in the comment section, so that if you need help, you can reach out. But Gabrielle, I want you to talk about that quote from Mike Todd, and then I want you to just share your heart. Just talk to the people, both toxic and non-toxic people, and then we'll close out.
All right. So Pastor Michael Todd, it comes from his relationship goals. I seen it yesterday. It's not weird, but it was just good to have seen on my timeline. It says, you have insecurities caused by people you were never supposed to be in relationship with. And to me, that is like, I have these issues and these challenges with people that I was not even supposed to connect with at all.
Wow. But
yet I connected with them. So that to me questioned why. What made me connect with this individual or this group of people or this situation or this partnership? Why did I do that? And with the result of making insecurities that I didn't even necessarily have to have. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it again kind of came with that self-reflection where, like, what is causing, or what has caused, what is there that has been harboring, or what have I held on to, for so long that is now maybe caused some pain and some hurt and some challenges that God never had intention for me to experience. And so just speaking from my heart, for one, God loves you. There is nothing and no one, no insecurity, there is no fear, no pain, no hurt that will ever be able to separate you from his love. He has chosen to love you. And if we can just accept or receive that particular love, then we can learn how to love ourselves. And so that when we learn how to love ourselves, that means learning how to respond to ourselves, How do we respond to situations? How do we respond to relationships? How do we respond to anger? How do we respond to trauma? How do we respond? So learning what those triggers are, learning what I like, what I don't like, what I think, what I feel, what I believe, what do I want, learning me, just loving me, right? Can prevent being in relationships that is going to cause harm, being in relationships that will, be to my detriment or to poison and to debilitate me or to cause function. To not be able to function the way that I was supposed to function. I was supposed to flourish. I'm supposed to be on top of my game, yet I have insecurities or I have issues and challenges because of relationships I've been in, right? Or things that I've experienced in the past. And so I just want to encourage you and empower you that wherever you are, whether you're in a toxic relationship or not, whether you are thinking about getting into a relationship or not, or a partnership or rekindling, whatever relationship, take some time to think about you, take some time to just reflect on what is that you want, what is that you desire, what feeds you, or am I feeding on hurt or am I feeding on love? Am I feeding on being real with myself or am I not? Am I playing a game? Like, what am I doing? And so I just want to encourage you and empower you, for one, that God loves you. There's nothing that can separate you from that. And then two, take the time to choose yourself. Yeah. And it's okay. The relationship's going to come. Things is going to come. Choose yourself so that when you choose a relationship, it won't be toxic. Right?
Oh my gosh. Whew, I do not want to stop talking. I contemplated like just going over. Like I did. I really did. I contemplated just really just being like, let's just forget it. Just like we're gonna do an hour 30. Like forget this. Like we're talking about everything. But I want to be considerate of our time and the time of our viewers. So, hey, we have had a phenomenal time tonight. I've learned so much. I pray that you guys have learned a lot. There's a lot that Gabrielle talked about. I've kind of gone through this process myself. I was even telling Gabrielle about things that I'm just now learning that affected me years ago, and it's just now come up. Now, for those of you that are thinking, okay, well, you walk by faith and you're supposed to, put the word of God on it and speak and things of that nature. I do all of that. I pray, I believe God, I read the word, but you know what? The Bible says that God wants us to prosper and be in health, even as our soul prospers. And did you know that your soul contains your mind, your will, and your emotions?
Yeah.
So our emotions have to prosper. And he's saying it. He said, I want you to be prosper and I want you to have good physical health because it's going to come from your soul prospering. That's your emotions. That's your mind. That's your mental wellness. Right. So if you felt like, well, you're talking way too much about your emotion. Well, God cares about your emotions too. Yeah. Right? He made us the way that we are. And all we're trying to do is give you practical steps on how to walk this life out. These are things that you just don't necessarily get growing up. Your family members may not necessarily have taught you these things, or you may have gone to school and they don't teach you how to communicate with people. And we're communicating with people on a daily basis. Right. So and we're dealing with problems and we're dealing with life, and there's things that we just don't get. And I think platforms like these, people like Gabrielle, I feel like they just bring so much enlightenment and provide so much understanding to help us walk through this life. Hey, every little thing that we get, every little piece of understanding, we're always growing, we're always learning, we're always evolving. Every bit of information that we get, we can take that and apply it and grow. Mm-hmm. So tonight, we've heard what it means to be toxic. We've heard that it is poisonous. It's debilitating. We've heard about the necessity of processing through emotions. We've talked about how to identify what that looks like through self-reflection, through having a trusted relationship where somebody can help you, putting your support system in place where people that know you can see those changes. And then getting out, moving on. And hey, you may not necessarily have to quit the relationship. You may be able to work together and improve the relationship. So look, I have had an amazing time tonight. I can't express it any more than I am right now. I wish I could. I would shout it from the rooftops. Gabrielle, thank you so much for being here. And like I told you, I'm going to have you sprinkle throughout, so just make sure your schedule's pretty clear so we can have some more conversations. But look, until next time, next week, we're going to be talking about sisterhood.
All right.
The importance of female relationships in your life. All right. So until next time, we'll see you then. Bye.
See ya.